Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm back in the United States after a 3-week stint in Brazil. I was there researching for my Cachaça thesis, so I should be finishing up pretty soon. In addition to that, one of the topics I was covering was classic cocktails using aged cachaças as opposed to an aged brandy or aged whiskey. So in this case, this week I'm going to be doing the Manhattan. So I'm going to be doing a comparative analysis with the regular bourbon. You can use a rye whiskey too. I'm going to be using a bourbon. I'm using a 3-year-old cachaça using American wood, and then an alternative wood. In this case, it's going to be sassafras. So this is aged for 3 years in sassafras casks. Very unique cachaça. I'm going to put a link on the description too of all these different cachaças that I'm reviewing, so you can get a background of what's going on. They're really unique, unlike anything I've tasted. So it's pretty cool. They got a lot of cool stuff going on there in Brazil. So getting right to it, the controlled things in this instance are going to be the bitters, of course. Classic Manhattan recipe calls for 2 dashes of Angostura bitters. So I'm just be doing that. And it's going to be an ounce of sweet vermouth. So I'm using Dolan Rouge in the Manhattan recipe here. You can use an Italian sweet too. I'm using a French sweet. And then we're going to go on to our base spirits here. So the first one we're going to do is, on your left, it's going to be a 10-year-old bourbon. But this is the spec for a classic Manhattan bourbon or rye. 2 ounces. And then in the other one, I'm going to keep this up front so we know where we're at. The next one is going to be a 3-year-old cachaça using American wood. This is Cedro do Líbano. So has a unique flavor to it, very similar to actually a bourbon. Has a lot of caramel and vanilla on it, just like an oak should. And then the sassafras one here, this is Cascada Jimenez. And this one has some really unique flavors. You can go to the review on my website, and again I'll put the link on there too, but this one should be interesting in Manhattan. So the purpose why I'm doing this is just to kind of do a comparative analysis. How does these flavors differ from, say, a regular Manhattan using a bourbon? Is it a viable variation? Can we use this, in our bars and our aged cachaças? Are they viable alternatives? I think they are. For what I've tasted, it just depends on the wood. Some impart more flavor and color than others, and so yeah. So this one's going to be our bourbon Manhattan. There we go. Next one is going to be the aged cachaça using American oak. And then the next one is going to be our one using sassafras. And the classic garnish too is going to be a cherry. So again, I'll post the recipe to the Manhattan. I did Manhattan a long time ago. Somebody requested it, but I think it's a good classic cocktail that a lot of people can relate to. Easy to make, and can have a lot of variations into it. So I know it's hard to taste. Is quite subjective. So I know you can't taste through the camera or anything or on the video, but I'm just going to give these a quick taste and see how they are. I've had plenty of Manhattans in my day. Just I need to benchmark, so the bourbon one. So that's got a great flavor to it, classic Manhattan flavor using a bourbon. You get the oak notes, you get the sweetness from the vermouth, really good. With the oak cachaça, I get some. I definitely get some of the cane flavors coming through. This adds another dimension to it that you don't get with the bourbon. Not saying that it's better. It's just different, you know. A lot of people like to make comparisons with cocktails and different boozes, and they're like, definitely this one's better. Sometimes that's the case, but generally it's just different flavors. You like what you like, so so it definitely has a different complexity than the barrel, the American bourbon. And then the one with the sassafras has a really cool finish. It's almost like an apple pie. Really unique stuff going on there, like a buttered apple pie on the finish. Really cool. So my conclusion is that yes, aged cachaças can be a viable alternative in, say, a Manhattan. I'm going to be doing these throughout the month. Doing a tiki cocktail, maybe a couple tiki cocktails, and see how those work too. I'm fairly certain that they'll be a nice variation and a viable alternative to regular rums. So stay tuned the rest of this month. We're going to be doing a lot of classics, things I haven't done before. So, and as they say in Brazil, saúde.